So in this little demonstration, we're going to create a domain controller and join it into an existing domain, and then we're going to turn that domain controller into a certificate authority and issue certificates for our SharePoint development sites or any development site. Welcome back, and again, I really hope you're not doing this on your time off. I hope you're watching this video at work, getting paid to take part in this chaos. So this server right here is a member of the wingtip.com domain. As we can see right here, it's a member of the domain, but it's not really doing anything. So what we're going to do first off is we're going to I need to go over to the domain controller, and we need to check and see what time zone the actual domain is in, because we don't want to try and join this guy in the wrong time zone. That might be a problematic situation. So I'm going to hop over here, and we're going to look at the domain controller for the wingtip.com domain. I'm just going to connect to it and log in once really quick, hopefully. And let's just see what this guy's sitting at. We're right there. Looks like he is Pacific time as well. Okay. We're going to go ahead and hop back over to the new soon-to-be domain controller in the wingtip.com domain. Here we are back on our soon-to-be domain controller, and we're going to go ahead and add roles and features, and then we're just going to get into the section where we activate Active Directory. Eventually we're going to turn on certificate services, but for right now we're just going to go ahead and make this guy a domain controller. So we're going to install the bits. After the bits are installed, then we'll just come back in here and we will get the thing promoted so that it's a domain controller. Here we are back on the server, and you can see the installation is completed, but now we need to promote this server to a domain controller. Since we already have an existing domain, wingtip.com, we're just going to add to an existing domain. Notice we're logged in with the domain admin. We're going to go ahead and accept these defaults. We're going to go ahead and give the directory services restore password. Hopefully I remember what it is. It's totally fine. DNS will get installed, as we saw earlier, and maybe the previous video might have watched it, but basically DNS is just going to install itself. So we're going to replicate from any domain controller, and we're going to keep everything there. In a production environment, you'd probably change that to some other location other than the OS, the drive that runs the OS rather. So now we'll just let this run. It says we're good to go, so we're going to install, and we'll come back to this after it finishes. Alright, so we're logging back into the old domain controller here. This is the actual CA wingtip domain controller, the one that's about to become a certificate authority. And what we're going to do now is just check a couple things in DNS. And let's see here. Here we go. Let's go ahead and we'll just pin that to the taskbar. Let's make sure we have an SRV record in here for this domain controller. And we did just promote it, so it should be looking pretty good. And looks like we've got an alias for it. Let's see. We want to go into, I think, in here. Yeah, there we go. There's our SRV record. So we're good on that. let's go ahead and get the certificate services on here now. So we're going to come right in here, and we are going to next, and certificate services. So we want all this stuff, and we're going to go next. Next, we're not doing anything special there. And let's see. I'm just looking at my instructions. I don't do this every day, so I want to make sure that I'm doing it correctly here. Alright, and we're going to next on this screen. And now here we're going to select this enrollment service right here. And we're going to click Add Features, and we're also going to do the enrollment web service, and we're going to leave the rest of these guys unchecked. So we can go ahead and read through this if we want, but we're just going to next through, and we're going to go ahead right here, and we're just going to leave that just as it is. We're going to next, and then we're going to tell it, yep, go ahead and restart if you need to. And we're going to say yes and install. And then we'll come back to that after it finishes. And once the role configures, or actually installs rather, we're going to close, and then over here you're going to see you got this little yellow triangle again. We're going to need to configure the certificate authority. So it's basically a nexting process for the most part. We're going to check certificate authority right here, wait a little bit, and then we're going to go ahead and click on, I believe, next is what we're going to choose. Next. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. So we're going to click next. We're going to do an enterprise CA, and we're going to click next. And it's definitely going to be the root CA since there aren't any other certificate authorities in the domain. We're going to go next. We're going to create a new private key because we don't have a key currently. There's no existing certificate authority, so we'll click next. We're going to do SHA-256. So that's kind of important because when you do your Office web app or your Office apps, not your Office web apps, but your apps management service, you're going to want 256. So as far as allow administrator interaction when the private key is accessed by the CA, we're just going to leave that unchecked. And then we're going to click next. On this next screen, we're not going to have it be wingtip CA hyphen wingtip CA. We're just going to remove this part right here. And it's just going to be the name of the server. So actually it's just going to be wingtip hyphen CA, which is kind of the reverse of what we have up here. So that's okay. And that's going to be what we're going to do. Or actually, you know what? Let's do this. Let's do like this. Let's make it the name of the server. Just like that. And then next. Whoops, no. Yeah. Let's back up a minute. Come back in here. And I think, yeah, we should be okay. Yep, we're going to be fine. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead with the 5 years, even though this is only 180-day software. And a production server, you're going to change that to a drive that doesn't hold the OS. And now we're going to configure. Here we go. And I'll go ahead and pause. Actually, I guess I won't. And do we want to configure additional roles and services? Yeah, I don't know. I can't decide really. I guess maybe I'll do the web role. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to click yes, and I'm going to come back through and go next. And I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to click on this here, and I'm going to click this guy right here, and then I'm going to click next. And on this next screen, I'm basically just going to leave it the way it is. Everything looks cool there. On the authentication types for CES, the next screen that shows up, I'm going to leave it on Windows Integrated Authentication, which is basically like Kerberos. So I'm going to use a built-in application pool identity right here, okay? And then what I'm going to do on the next screen is I'm going to tell it that it's okay to use Windows Integrated Authentication. And so now I'm at the screen where I need to click on the server certificate. Okay, I'm not going to change anything here, but I'm just going to click and choose this guy right here. Okay, once I do that, I'm just going to click next. Alright, at this point I'm going to configure, and what's going to happen is the server is going to start configuring the services. So here it goes. I should get 2 green lights if everything goes good. I'm just going to pause the video now, and once it comes up, I guess I'm not going to pause. That's pretty fast. Okay. So now I'm going to close. So now I have a certificate authority set up. Alright. Now the next step that I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get a cert issued, where I'm going to issue the cert for the star.wingtip.com domain that I can use over there on my servers. Alright, we'll be back in a moment. Notice we're back on our WFE server, so we're on the front end server, and if you notice, we try to go to this site, we're getting a page that can't be displayed. And the same thing is happening for our tbspug.wingtip.com on SSL. Excuse me. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up the IS manager, which I believe I've already opened. Yep, there it is. And we're just going to open that guy up. And we're going to come in here and get into where the server certificates location is. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a domain certificate. So the common name for this guy is going to be star.wingtip, and the organization is Wingtip Airlines, and the organizational unit, we'll just call that servers. And there we go. We'll click next. So here we're going to specify our certificate authority. Okay. So this is going to be named, it's going to be the name of our certificate authority. So if you remember, you see it's saying here certificate authority name, server name. Right? And if you remember, what we did was when we were on the certificate authority, there was that point where I was like, are we going to have it be Wingtip, or are we going to have it be CA Wingtip or Wingtip CA? And eventually we decided to go with CA-Wingtip. And we're going to go with a backslash, and then the actual name of that server is also the same thing that we chose. So like we could have put, instead of doing CA Wingtip for the name of the certificate authority name, we could have just said cert authority or whatever we want to call it. But I don't know, you might have different ways of doing it in your environment. So make sure you follow whatever governance documents are out there. And then the friendly name is going to be the CA Wingtip. And then we're going to click finish. Oh, and there was an error. No such host is known. So we need to get over there on the CA and see what's going on. So let's come back here and let's go next. And then on this guy, let's let's go back to that CA really quick. Let's hop back over there. Back on the CA, we've opened up the certificate authority. And we see we have the certificate authority called CA-Wing capital TIP. So let's go back over to our web server. So here we are on our web server. We've got the name typed in now with all of the right case and everything. We're going to go ahead and click Finish here. And we're getting this new message that says the certificate request was submitted, but the CA denied it. So we're going to click OK, and we're going to hop back over to that CA and take another look. Back on the certificate authority now, we're going to open up the certificate authority. So open that up. Oh, hello. Oh, spelled it wrong. It's important to type correctly. We're going to open that guy up. We're going to look in here. We're going to see if we have any failed requests. You can see that I tried there a couple times. Once when I was on video and the other time when I wasn't. So we're going to go ahead and we will issue the certificate. And the same thing with this guy. We'll issue the certificate. So there's the certificates. So here we have a cert. Well, we want to be able to use this certificate on the actual web server. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to get this cert over on the web server. Now, it's probably there. So let's hop back over to the web server and take a look. Okay, so here we are on the web server, and we don't see anything in here, and at least not here in IIS. Let's go ahead and let's take a look inside this certificate manager and see what we can see in here if we find anything. So let's go ahead and add the certificates right here for the computer account and see what we can find. So let's see what we have in here. Ah, look at that. Which one to choose? So what are these actions available over here? All tasks, import. Let's take a look at this one first and just see what it says. So it's definitely what we want. Certificate information. The CA root certificate is not trusted because it's not a trusted root certificate authority star. Okay. So what we're going to need to do then is we need to get the CA root certificate from the CA, and we need to put it in the trusted root certificate authority store on this guy. And that could be possibly why it didn't come in. So we're going to hop back over on the CA, and we're going to get in there, and we're going to get the cert for the CA, and we're going to stick it over here in this guy. All right. Back over on the CA now. We're going to go like this, and we're going to get that certificate. Add it in. Okay. This one right here, and we're just going to go like this, and click OK. And now we're going to go in here. And let's see what we have in here. So we've got this CA wingtip. So let's go ahead and export this one. And export. We're going to go next. That'll be fine. And the file name, let's just put that right on the desktop. And we'll call it CA WT. There we go. Okay. Next, finish, export was successful. We grab that one and we're going to copy it over to the WFE. Back on the WFE, and I've got this CAWT cert that I took from the CA. I'm going to double click it, I'm going to install it, and I'm going to install it into the trusted root authority. Click OK, next, finish. Alright, so let's see if that's the magic ticket. Where's our, oops, we don't have our wingtip cert. It's down here. Okay, this guy. So this wingtip cert, let's take a look at it and see what we have now if we open it up. We're still seeing that. So let's go ahead and copy it and put it in here. Paste it right in there. And let's see, now we're looking good. So, okay, so that's going to work right there. These other requests here, let's just, I guess probably let's just copy another one in there just for fun. See what happens. We do that. Oh, look at that. Okay. I'm going to get rid of this first one because I'm not entirely sure if it makes a difference with the 4 different requests. This is the first time I did it on video and it failed, where we didn't have the correct typing of the CA name, and then these other 3 attempts were made during the video. So this was the one where it gave us the not trusted business. So let's go and see what we've got going on here in IS now. If we refresh, I would have thought that would have shown up. Okay, well then let's go back to the certificate and let's export it and then import it in. Okay, so let's do this and come back in here and here. Sorry, this isn't like a step by step with no problems type thing. This is probably what you're going to run into if you're doing this at some point in time. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to export this. And yes, I want to export the private key so it can work in IIS. And I'm going to export all the extended properties. The password is going to be something super cryptic, like password 123. Actually, that's too cryptic. PASSWORD 123 and PASSWORD 123. And next, we're going to take that right over here to the installer accounts documents. Second thought, let's put it on the desktop. And we're going to call it wildcard wingtip. And save. Next. Finish. Okay. Now I'm just going to double click on it and I'm going to put it in the local machine. And I'm going to put it in the personal store first. The password is PASSWORD 123. Market key exportable. Next. And next. Finish. Okay. So what it did is it put it in here. Put it right there. Okay. We're going to do it again and put it in the trusted root authority. Alright. So next. Secret password again. You're going to want to make your passwords harder if you're doing this for real. That's not a good password. And I know, you're thinking, yeah, Stacy, you're absolutely right. That's a terrible password. It's like welcome123 or something stupid like that. You definitely wouldn't do that for production anything. Okay, so that worked. And so now if we look in here, we've got that cert pulled in. And now if we come over to IIS and we close the IIS manager down and open it, we should hopefully see the certificate. And if not, then I'm going to pause the video and do a little troubleshooting and come back to you with what I found. So let's look in here now and let's see service certificates. There we go. It's looking good. It doesn't have a friendly name, so that might be a little weird. So let's go into the certificate authority and give it a friendly name. Not the certificate authority, the certificate manager rather. And that way, when we use it, it'll be something that we can see and be able to pick it and all that kind of stuff. So, all right, come in here and get this guy, computer account again, finish, and click OK. So what we're going to do is, on this one, we're going to see it's got friendly name none. We're going to change that with properties and friendly name. We're just going to go star.wingtip.com. And we're going to click apply and click OK. We're going to do the same thing with the one that's in here. So it's got no friendly name. We're just going to do the same thing here. Properties. And we're going to say star.wingtip.com. And click apply. Click OK. Now if we close this and if we close if we refresh IIS, it shows up now. So what we can do now is we can come in here on our hostname site collection and we can come into these bindings and we can set a binding in there and we can select it, whereas before we couldn't. And we click OK and do the same thing for the TV Spug. Select, maybe that's the one I just selected. I thought Okay, so it sets them both. That's right. All right, so that's set now. So the next thing I need to do is hop over to the app server and do the same thing over there as far as the certificates are concerned. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll be back in a minute. All right. Actually, all I'm going to do is just for that one, I'm just going to copy this PFX. That's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to copy that over to that server. So I'll be back in a minute. And I'm over here on the app search server. I'm going to double click this guy and I'm going to install it into the server. That's this super hard password. And we're going to do it one more time to the trusted root authority. Okay. Super hard password. Again, you wouldn't use a password like this or welcome 123 or anything stupid like that. You want to have this be hard, so it would be something cryptic, but that's definitely not cryptic. All right, and this is going to go into the trusted root authority. Okay, and that's that. Now, if we look in here, on here we can come in and we can set the bindings. And when we set one, they're going to set both. So we're going to do this and click OK. And I should have done this one as well. Yep. Okay. All right. So those are both set. All right. The next thing to do is test the sites. There we go. Hostname site collection up and running. If we look in here, we can see it's a hostname site collection, and we can check that out by taking a look at the View All Site Collections page, because what you won't see is you won't see that path in front of it when we look at it. When we look at the web application that houses the hostname site collections. So just check that here, and just see it doesn't have a path in front. The only site collection in a hostname site collection web application that actually is path-based is the very top one, the top site. The rest of them are all host-named. So anyway, fun stuff. Check out my other video on how to create those hostname site collections. But anyway, as you can see, if we go back to the tvspug.com page, it's running on a trusted cert. There's none of this red garbage up here. I was watching a course on a reputable online class development company, and they were using a cert that they issued from cert-depot.com, but that site seems to be down. So I hope you enjoyed this presentation on how to make a certificate authority and deploy it in your domain. I'm just going to jump over to the PowerEdge server just to show you one last little thing, and then we'll call this one a wrap. So here we go, PowerEdge, which is the actual physical host. As you see here, in this wingtip domain, we've got this wingtip domain controller, and then we have this root CA. So I'm going to go ahead now, and I'm going to log into the root CA and turn it off. And the sites will still work. And so let me just connect into that guy. Actually, I'm already logged onto it over there. Never mind. I'm logged into it right here. And we're just going to go ahead and close that and say no. And then we're going to turn this one off, because you don't want to leave your root CA server powered on. You want to keep him turned off. Okay. Thank you for watching, and until next time, have a good one.